Welcome back. I'm Stasia Bliss. If it's your first time here, welcome. I created this channel as a place to discuss and support living life with greater capacity, with greater awareness and greater capacity. So that's called spiritual maturation that's what I call it, but other cultures. In India, it's called the Kundalini awakening. It's not something we really discuss in the Western world very much. Even if you're into yoga, then you could be doing yoga without any real thought about this process at all. In fact, you could even go through it in your life and have no idea that you're going through it. So it's only when we bring awareness to a process that is innate and natural that it can have any real meaning, and also that we can really reap the benefits from it. Because you can also not know it's there, think you have a health problem, exasperate that, and have the body break down because you didn't have the awareness of how to manage the higher frequency awareness and prana which your spiritual maturation required of you. So there was no teaching, there was no training. And that's what I was discovering as I went through the process myself, and I looked for ways to support myself. I felt there was something going on that was deeper and more profound. I craved the knowledge. I looked, I seeked, I found, a lot in the Indian yogic tradition that spoke to my experience in my physical body, in my psychic body, if you will, my emotional cycles and so forth. And so I immersed myself in that study and found, wow, this is actually a process that's known in the East. It's anticipated, it's written about. There are steps, there are processes, and actually in all mystical traditions speak of this process. So if you've never learned about it, you're kind of just in the dark. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen to you, though it is a process that maybe happened to fewer of us in the past. So we are in a acceleration, if you will. You can call it, we're bringing heaven on earth. You can talk about it as a quickening. There's a lot of words in spiritual texts. The ascension process. So it's a kind of slow motion process right now, and it kind of is goes up a little bit and down a little bit, and there's integration periods. And that's actually part of what's always been known in spiritual traditions. In the Egyptian initiatory rites, in the Toltec rites, in the various yogic traditions, in the tantric traditions, in the Buddhist traditions, in the Native American traditions, initiatory phases in your consciousness development, that when you're ready, you would be initiated by spirit, right? By spirit, and by those around you who recognized and held space for and gave you languaging and wording for that. So this sort of information is needed in a culture where we don't have it around us, we don't expect it, we don't think it's there, and we instead have a slew of people going to mental hospitals with unexplained, extraordinary symptoms and so forth that in other traditions would be seen as a spiritual awakening. So it's one reason that I really want to share about this. I have known people to go into the mental hospital because of being misunderstood. I've also known people who have taken their life because they do not understand the process. It hits very close to home for me. A good friend of mine left this world who was a yogi, who was practicing, but who didn't have this training, didn't understand life force awakening. So I find it a really crucial topic, and the more we can educate ourselves on the process, which I've done in numerous videos on this channel, in numerous ways of supporting oneself through the process. And I also have multiple courses on this. If you're interested, send me an email and you can have a link to some of those courses. but to educate ourselves on what an awakening process is, how this can look in the physical body, in the mental body, in the emotional body, in the relationship dynamic. That's the whole basis of this channel. How can we move the energy when it's stagnant? Acupressure, mudras, mantras, yoga postures. Also, nature will support you. Sitting in the wind, listening to the wind, sitting on the planet, grounding, sitting next to a tree. You know, some people get through this process just by being in nature and letting nature show the way. That is the natural way, right? A lot of us are so confined to our homes and buildings and places of work that we can't even really fit in time for nature and our own nourishment, unfortunately. Got this stevia. It's all right. I like their sodas better than the teas. What else do I want to say today? Again, a lot of thoughtfulness in my realm right now. Lots of family talks about transitions and life changes and health and so forth. And you know, if someone's contemplating or they're near a transition, and if they don't have the tools or the languaging for making the transition into a new phase of being, a new passion for living, a new focus and direction, then it's really easy for the physical body to break down at that time. So let's just breathe together. Yesterday, I began my talk by saying I wanted to give you a practice. If you watched that video, you may or may not have wondered what that practice actually was. And as I was re-watching it, I was like, yeah, what is the practice here other than taking you around the body into different chakras? So I want to apologize for that and follow it up today with a practice of closing your eyes and taking awareness into different parts of your body. So imagine slipping your awareness into your feet. Like your feet are the shoes for your consciousness. And just feel into the feet. And let your consciousness move up to the ankles, in around the bones of the ankles. And slide up the calf bones and the shin bone and feel all the muscles and tendons in there. Bring consciousness there, awareness there. Even flex those muscles, flex the feet. Become aware of them, rotate the ankles. And continue that process up your body, becoming progressively aware of each part of you. Breathing into that place. In my hips, lie in my hips. You can punch your hips lightly, of course, nicely. Stomach, chest. And as we consciously move awareness around parts of the body, we actually are inhabiting our bodies more fully. We're not just up here in the head. Like I said at the beginning of yesterday's video, we begin to inhabit and step into our body completely, which allows us to, experience more health and vitality because we're not divorced from ourselves. We're not disconnected. A lot of times in sessions with people doing muscle testing, we'll find that their spirit and body are disconnected. There's a disassociation going on, and that's part of the blocks. And that's just like there's this separation, there's a disconnect. There's some reason you step consciously out of your body. It could have been a trauma, it could have been an emotional thing that caused you to not feel completely safe in this physical vehicle. So you can still be unconsciously walking it around with your consciousness hanging out over here. So moving your consciousness around the body, moving it, flexing it, saying I am at home in myself, helps to bring you and your consciousness present in this physical vessel, which makes you stronger, more vital, healthier. And here, the most important thing, because you're most powerful when you're here. Okay, that's all I have today. I gotta run. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you and love you. And I hope you found something out of this talk that was helpful and interesting and resonant for you. And just whatever that is, let it bless the rest of your day, inspire something in you, and I hope to see you again. Okay. Namaste.